I also told the church that as it keeps moving towards those days, that being the church in the culture is going to be harder and harder and harder. And in a lot of churches, the culture is going to flood into the church and dilute it. And look what's happening.
Yeah.
So many denominations are struggling with, should we, acknowledge gay marriage? Should we acknowledge this? Should we acknowledge that? And transgenderism and all. We want to be politically. What's happening? The culture's flooding into the churches, into whole denominations that are being sunk by Paul. And that's not the only thing, but that's just something that's huge. Jesus said in the last days before he comes, it's going to be like the days of Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to be like the days of Noah. They didn't know right from wrong. They just, whatever was wrong, they thought that was right. Flesh became corrupted. We're now doing genetic editing and CRISPR-Cas9 and pigs and humans and embryos in the womb and changing DNA. And my gosh, we're there.
Yeah. And
so now the church, the real church, and I'm not talking about denominations or even local congregations, but when I say the real church, I'm talking about the blood-bought, spirit-filled, Jesus-loving, unashamed of the gospel, declaring Jesus, standing in the Word, church. That church is probably going to get smaller and smaller rather than bigger and bigger, as far as local congregations go. Because, look, I've seen it in my own church over the years. Not that we're getting smaller, we're still very blessed, and God's blessing, but I've noticed a real thinning and weeding out over the decades of people who, listen, we love the worship, we love your preaching, Brother Carl, man, you stand on the word, worship, but we gotta live out here, and we just, and then political correctness, and I might lose my job, and I won't get a promotion, and then they flitter away, and they join some congregation where it's all the fluffy, fuzzy stuff. And
narrow is the gate.
Yeah, and I'm not judging their salvation. I'm not judging them. I'm not even trying to be disparaging. It's just I've been a pastor in one community, one church for 3 decades. I've watched generations, children grow into adults. I've done their weddings. I've watched them have their children. But I've also watched this generational shift of just what I prophesied. I didn't mean to be a prophet decades ago. That the culture was going to so flood into the church. It was going to be a weeding out process. But isn't that what Jesus said the last days? The tares are among the wheat. He said, don't pull them up because you don't know, but God knows. Until the day of the harvest. Just keep going forward. Keep pressing forward. Keep pressing forward. And we're there. We are there. And it's going to get, I'll use the word worse. It's going to become more and more apparent that what I'm saying is true. Not what I'm saying, what the Bible says. What the Bible says is true.
Of the final kingdom.
Not only things that he didn't know, there are things he still doesn't know.
Pastor Carl Gallups, Gods of the Final Kingdom. There are things that Satan didn't know that are key to this, how this final kingdom is going to develop. What is it that Satan didn't know?
Thanks. Not only things that he didn't know, there are things he still doesn't know.